is the last class of the session. If it's your first time here, that's okay. Welcome. And if you've been with me the whole time, I appreciate that as well. So we're going to start off with doing some breathing and centering exercises just to kind of get our mind prepared for class, and then we'll do a warm-up to get our body prepared for class. So I want you to sit up wherever you're sitting, in a chair or on the floor. Sit up as tall as you're comfortable. If you're on the floor, if you need to put that blanket or pillow underneath you, you can do that. Hands are in your lap with your palms up, and I want you to bring your focus to your breath. You can close your eyes if you'd like, and just feel the breath moving in and out of your body. And just be aware of where that breath is coming from right now. For most of it, it's probably more in our chest. So now I want you to focus on that breath coming from your belly instead. You can even put your hands on your belly if you want to. Inhale, feel your belly expand and widen. As you exhale, feel your belly deflate. Feel your rib cage widen and narrowing. Your shoulders stay pretty much still, so that breath is down lower than your shoulders. As you inhale, I want you to feel a positive and relaxing energy coming through you, and as you exhale, I want you to release out any tensions that you've got going on in your body. Release out any negative thoughts that you've got going on, or just even thoughts that are getting in the way. Just let them go for now. And as you inhale, I want you to inhale deeply, take a little pause, and then exhale. See if you can make that exhalation a little bit deeper and longer than your inhalation. And let that stress leave your body even more. As you continue to breathe, I'm going to read our first reading here. There is something comforting about being wrapped up in a blanket. Although there are good blankets, the ones that are soft, thick, and fluffy, and then there are the ones that are thin and wool and a little rough to the touch. Yes, I choose thick and fluffy, the blanket that brings comfort. That's what Jesus does for us. We come to him hurt from distressed situations, from places of pain and heartache, and he says, "Oh, how I love you." From John. Greater love has no one than this, than someone lay down his life for his friends. He wants you to allow him to pick up your pieces, take you in his arms, and wrap you as tightly up in his blanket of grace. And we rest peacefully knowing he is in control. Just take a couple more breaths with that. I invite you to open up your eyes if you had them closed, and let's continue warming up now our physical body. Let's take the chin to the chest gently and bring it just to neutral, so I'm not tipping backwards at all, just forwards to the chest, and then back up to neutral, chin to chest, back up to neutral one more time. And back up to neutral. Good. Now gently turn your head to the right, bring it center and to the left, trying to keep those shoulders nice and still. Just turning the head as far as your neck is okay going right now. It could be a little stiff, so honor that and don't push it further than it wants to go right now. Hopefully it'll loosen up as we go. Let's do one more each direction. and bring it back to center. And now let's take the ear to the shoulder and bring it back to center. Again, keeping those shoulders still and trying to keep your nose and chin facing forward into the room. Just taking that ear to the shoulder as far as you comfortably can. Let's do one more each direction, each side. And bring it to the center. Good. Now I want you to take it ear to shoulder and then just gently let it roll to the other side. Stop when the ear is at the other shoulder and then roll it to the other side. Inhaling, exhaling, inhaling, exhaling. Good. Let's do one more in each direction. And bring it back up to neutral. Good. Go ahead and release your arms. And I want you to just gently lift the shoulders up and then let them roll backwards. Inhaling as you lift, exhaling as you release. Inhale, exhale. Good. One more. And now take one at a time. And I'm going to start to lift that elbow up a little bit. Good, and now I'm going to take it bigger. I'm going to lead with the hand back, as big around as you can. Again, listen to that shoulder joint. We're just warming it up. Breathe out as you pull back. One more. And release it. Good. Now lift it up and roll them both forward. Up and forward. Inhaling and exhaling. Good, one more. And now one at a time, lifting that elbow up toward the ceiling a little bit more, like you're doing a swim, but with the elbow leading. Good, and now I'm going to take that full arm up and over, again, as big as you're comfortable. Last one, each side, and release it and roll it out. Good, all right, let's take a reach across and bring it center, and right now I'm just taking the arm across, and then I'll add the twist to it. So I'm just taking that arm across the body as far as you can. Let's do one more each direction. And now I'm going to reach and twist along with it, if that feels okay for your back. So one more each side. And bring it back to the center. Good. Now I want you to just gently shift your rib cage side to side. Keep your shoulders still. They're only moving because you're moving the rib cage. So feel the movement lower than your shoulders into your core. Bottom is staying still, whether you're sitting in the chair or on the floor. Good, and then bring it back to the center, and let's go into a cat-cow. So starting with cow, flat back forward, inhale, exhale, tuck the chin, and roll it up into cat. Inhale forward, exhale, roll it back. Inhale forward, exhale, roll it back. Let's do a couple more of these. Inhale forward, exhale, roll it back. Using the muscles in your abdominals and your spine to roll you up, trying not to push through your arms. Let's do one more. Inhale and exhale and roll it back up to neutral. Good. All right, if you're sitting in the chair, we're going to go into your hips. You can go over the stool and bring it back, over the stool and bring it back. If you're on the ground and you want to lay down, you can do hip circles. Grabbing hold of those thighs, rolling the hips around. So I'm focusing on rolling those hips more than the knees if you're down on the floor. Okay, if you're on the floor, switch the direction. If you're sitting in the chair, keep going over the stool in each direction. Let's do one more each side if you're sitting in the chair, and then bring your feet down. All right, either way, I want you to lift your knee up and down. If you're on the chair, you're lifting your knee more straight up toward the ceiling. If you're laying on the ground, you're bringing that knee more in toward your chest. Now, if you're sitting on the chair and you want to do that, you can lift your knee towards your chest by grabbing the thigh if that feels okay to do. I just don't want you to lean forward in order to do that. I want you to stay up tall. So if you can't do it staying up tall, then I want you to just take your knees up to the ceiling. Last one. Good. Now I want you to extend and bend. Extend and bend. So if you're on the ground like me, your foot's going up toward the ceiling. If you're sitting on the chair, the leg is going straight out in front of you. Just bending and straightening that knee. If you're on the ground, just take that leg up as high as you're comfortable right now. It's a little bit more intense on the ground. One more. And release that. Good. Shake it out. Now I want you to extend that leg again, and I want you to roll the ankle. And if you're on the floor, you can take it as high as you're comfortable. If you're on the ground, same thing. Take it as high as you're comfortable, but no higher than straight out of the body. And then go the other way. Good, and then point and flex. Focusing on the ankle, just let the toes follow. So don't overpoint the toes, just let the toes follow along. One more. Good, release that leg. Other leg, roll the ankle around. Again, trying to isolate that ankle joint. And then take it the other way. And point and flex. One more. Good, and release that. If you're sitting on the ground, come up to sitting. If you're laying down. And let's finish the warm up with the wrists, because we will, if you're on the ground especially, we're going to be on all fours, but we're also going to have our hands on the chair some, so we're going to want to warm up our wrists a little bit. And now roll them around. Go the other way. Try just to move those wrists. The hands and the fingers are moving because you're moving the wrists. So you can even tuck your elbows in a little bit so you don't move your whole arm. Now make a fist. Flex back, bend forward. Breathing deeply as you do this. And now roll the wrists around. Good, and go the other way. Good, and now just really spread and stretch out your hands and then make a nice tight fist. Inhale, spread, exhale, fist. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Good, one more time. Inhale and exhale. Good, shake it out. From Psalm 62. On God rests my salvation and my glory. My mighty rock, my refuge is God. We no longer have to depend on our own strength for the current situation we are facing. Instead, he says, rest in my strength. We no longer have to face our day fighting for love and approval from others. He invites us to be wrapped in his love and mercy each day. Okay, so I'm going to start off on the floor and get you situated, and then I'll go up to the chair. So we're going to go into a floor lunge. So the stretches today are a little bit deeper. I did that on purpose to kind of graduate up to this. If you're on all fours and it bothers your knee, you can grab a quick pillow or a blanket to stick under your knees if you need to. And you want that chair right next to you now, if you're on the floor, so that you can have something to hold on to. Because this is not balance and pray, this is stretch and pray. So I don't want you wobbling in order to keep your balance. I want you to be able to have something to hold on to. So I'm going to take the leg that's closest to the chair and I'm going to put it out in front of me. All right, this is only if you're on the ground. I'll do something else when you're sitting. And then I'm going to lean forward into that leg, and you're going to get a nice deep stretch in through this hip flexor and quad. And if you're on the ground, you're going to get a stretch through your shin too. If that's too deep, you can come up on your toes. All right. If you're sitting in the chair, you're going to turn sideways in your chair. And you're going to take that, and I'm going to really let my one leg be off the chair, okay? Hang on to the side if you need that support. And I'm going to extend this leg behind me as far as I can until I get that stretch into my back thigh. You're going to get some stretch to your calf if you're here too, because you're on your toes when you're on the chair. You can release them if you want to, but then you lose that. So you really want to have that leg extended as far as you can. And just breathe here. Good, and release that, bring the leg in. If you're on the ground, go to all fours, and then I'll come to you. All right, so if you're sitting in the chair, you can either put your hand on the seat next to you, or you can have your hand on the back of the chair. And I'm just gonna kind of lean into the hand that's on the chair, or you can put your shoulder into the chair and just open up into a side angle. Shoulders are down. If you're on the ground, you're going to be on all fours and you're going to lift one side up. Shoulders down. Make sure you're not pushing your weight into this one arm. Shift it back more into your knees if you're on the ground so that you're not putting too much pressure on that wrist that's on the ground. And just breathe. So I'm just going to keep kind of going up and down. Breathe, and just take that arm up as high as you're comfortable. If it needs to go lower, take it lower. Good, and now if you're on the ground, I'm going to take that arm that's coming up and I'm going to thread it through, and I'm going to go down as far as I can. Here, if you need to, you can put the pillow if you can't go quite so far down. If you're on the chair, take that arm up to your top of your chair, thread that arm through, and then lean down. If you can rest that elbow on your thigh. If that's too much, you can either put a pillow on your lap or just don't go that deep. So you should be getting a stretch through your shoulder. Breathe. You're going to get a stretch through your back as well. Good. Come back up. Either way, if you're on the ground, go back to all fours. Sitting in the chair, I want you to extend the outer leg forward. And then you can hang onto the chair, or you can put both hands on your thighs, and you're going to hinge forward toward that straight leg, and you're going to get the stretch down that leg. And you can just hold that stretch. If you're on the ground, you're going to take the same leg that was out in front of you before, where you were like this, and now you're going to shift your weight back, lift up the toes, and then hinge forward, and you're going to get the nice deep stretch down the back of that leg. Hanging onto the chair and hand on your thigh if you're down on the ground. Breathe. If it's too deep of a stretch being on the ground, just come up a little taller. If sinking all the way down is too much. Flex that foot either way to get that calf stretch in there as well. Good, and release that. If you're on the ground, you can open up your knees and come into child's pose. If you're on the chair, you can turn back to front and go into a forward fold. Relax the shoulders and just breathe. And gently roll it up. And before we do the other side, I'm going to read again. The change from summer to fall can mean that one day you can walk outside and it's hot and the sun is brightly shining and the humidity is breathtaking, literally. But the next day you walk outside and there are cooler temperatures and a cool breeze and the sun is still shining brightly. There is relief. What's crazy is that the same sun that was shining in the summer with the high temperatures is the same sun shining in the fall when it's so much cooler. The sun never leaves and is still present, much like Jesus. He is constant. He never changes. From Hebrews, Jesus Christ is the same yesterday and today and forever. He never leaves our circumstances, no matter how difficult those circumstances, no matter how exhausting the situations, he is still there. All right, so if you're in the chair, you're going to turn the other way. Let that leg hang off the side, hang on to your chair, and then extend that leg long behind you to get that stretch through your thigh. If you're on the ground, the other leg is going to come in front, and then you're going to hinge forward. Just got to make sure you watch this knee. Your knee should not look like this. That's really bad for your knee. So make sure if you're on the ground, your knee is in line or behind your ankle. And only go as far as you're comfortable. And again, if this bothers your knee that you're kneeling on, you can grab a pillow. Or you can even roll your yoga mat up if you're on a mat. You want to stay up nice and tall either way too. You don't want to hinge forward at all on this. Shoulders are right over the hips. Good, releasing that to all fours if you're on the ground. And you're going to open up the other side. If you're on the chair, you can take that leg from behind, bring it up a little bit more. Hand can be on the seat. And lifting that arm up, leaning into the back of the chair or leaning into the hand that's on the chair. Again, you just don't want to lock out that arm that you're like pushing and holding your weight up. You want to sink more into the chair. If you're on the floor, make sure that weight is going more into your knees rather than into that opposite arm. And breathe. You can look up at your hand if that feels okay to do. Good, and gently release that. You're going to take your hand to the back of the chair. Release, bring that arm through underneath the other one, and then leaning forward if you can get that elbow onto the thigh, or as low as as you feel comfortable. If you're on the floor, spreading through, going down as far as you're comfortable. Releasing that up. If you're on the floor, come up to kneeling. And you're going to take that same leg that was forward before. Come up onto the heel and then sit your weight back into that opposite leg. And then hinging at the hip, keeping the chest up and the back flat. You're on the chair, that outside leg is coming forward. I'm still mainly only one leg on the chair and then leaning forward. Either way, you're flexing your foot. Either way, you're hinging at the hip, your back is flat and your chest is up. So make sure you don't let your body round. You want to keep your chest lifted. Breathe. Good, and release that. If you're sitting in the chair, come forward and go into forward fold. If you're on the ground, you can go into child's pose, or you can go into cat on the floor if that feels better. Good, release that. If you're on the ground, come to sitting. From Deuteronomy, it is the Lord who goes before you. He will be with you. He will never leave you or forsake you. And when we finally trust that, we breathe in Jesus and then begin to rest in his presence. His peace is a breath of fresh air. All right, so for this next part, we're going to be standing. And I'm going to take my chair and I'm going to have it to the side of me. I'm going to adjust my camera just a bit so that you can see me better. Now you can be behind the chair if you need to be. I'm more onto the side of it, and it's more so that you can see me too. So I'm going to step 1 foot in front of the other, not too far away. So when I look down, I can see my full back foot. I'm not like way back here. I'm only maybe a foot between my feet, 12 inches or so. Both my feet are in nice straight lines, heel behind the toes. We're going to go into a deeper Achilles stretch. So I'm going to bend my back knee and shift my weight back into that back heel. And I'm feeling a deep stretch in the lower calf, and I'm feeling a stretch in my shin. Now, if you're not feeling it in your calf, make sure your foot's not crooked. If your heel's off to the side either way, you're not going to feel the stretch. It needs to be right behind the toes. And you really need to kind of bend that knee and sink your weight into it. If it's too much, ease up, come taller. Just breathe. Good, come up tall, and I'm going to switch the feet. Bend that back knee and shift the weight back into that back heel. This is really the only way that you can really get a good deep Achilles stretch that I know of. And release that and shake it out. All right, now I'm going to take the chair and I'm going to turn it so that the seat is facing me. And you can always come up higher if you need to, okay? I'm going to widen out my feet. And I'm going to start off with my legs straight and my arms straight. And then I'm going to bend my knees and try to just sink my bottom straight down and then straighten. Bend and straighten. So right now we're actively stretching the hips and straighten. Inhaling and exhaling. Good, so now hold it bent. If you can go lower, take your hands lower. If you need to be up here, then that's where I want you to be. Go where it feels comfortable for you. I'm going into a wide forward fold right now. So I'm going to go all the way down. Again, listen to your body, go as far as you're comfortable. My knees are bent still. Relax the shoulders. And now I'm going to straighten up my legs, but I'm going to keep my body my upper body where it was. Then I'm going to take my hands up to the seat again. I'm going to bend my knees, and I'm going to just shift my weight side to side. Again, you want to watch those knees that they're not going beyond your toes. They can go over your toes, but not past your toes. If they're going past your toes, that's going to actually hurt your knees. You're not wide enough. You just need to widen out, or don't go as deep. This is getting more inner thigh. So let's hold it to one side and really feel the inner thigh on that straight leg. And I do want you to put your weight into your arms a little bit more here, that your weight is kind of even between your legs and your arms, that your legs aren't doing all the work of holding you in place. And then take it to the other side. Breathe. And bring it to the center. And I'm going to walk my feet back and go into a downward dog. Now again, if this is too high, you can flip the chair around and do it like we normally do it, or you can just be here. If you want to go to the floor and do downward dog, go ahead. You can do that as well. Relax the shoulders, breathe. Good, and we're going to finish this section with a cat and cow. So if you went down to the floor for down dog, you can stay on all fours and just take your back flat for cow, and then round for cat. Flat for cow, inhale, exhale, round. Inhale, flat, exhale, round. One more, inhale, flat, exhale, hold it rounded, shoulders down, breathe. Good, and release that. And you can go back to sitting either on the floor or on the chair. Adjust my mat. Adjust my camera again. From Matthew. Come to me, all of you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. That's what Jesus does for us. He is there. We know that. In some cases, we see him, but we just allow him to take the sidelines of our lives instead of allowing him to coach the game. We just have to begin to live in what we know is true. And his word is truth. We begin to love in peace that helps our circumstances to no longer rest on us. We enjoy the cool air. We enjoy the promises he has made to us. We begin to live in true joy. Our life becomes a life full of worship. Not just Sunday worship, singing songs. A life that is filled, that is lived in worship to the great Creator, our Father. Our joy overflows, and it not only affects us, but the ones around us. So we're going to finish with our wrists and fingers and our neck today, just because we were on our hands a little bit. So I want you to take your hand forward, like palm up, and then let your fingertips dip down toward the floor. And then with your other hand, I want you to reach, make sure you're not just grabbing the fingertips. I'm even grabbing a little bit of the base of the palm. And I'm pulling back as I press the base of my palm forward, like the heel of my palm forward. Shoulders down, relax the elbow, but my arm is straight, just not locked. And this is that carpal tunnel stretch. Breathe. So if you've got any issues, don't force it. Good, release that. We're going to keep the hand this way. I'm going to take from the pinky to the thumb. I'm going to pull back one finger at a time, and I'm going to focus right at the first joint by the base of the hand. and pull back gently. And I'm just letting that finger bend around my other fingers so that I'm not cracking the knuckle. It may crack anyway a little bit, but you really want to focus on that joint that's closest to your hand. And then the thumb, go back. Good, flip that over, grab from the knuckles and pull back, pressing the top of your wrist forward. You may feel that go all the way into your elbow. This is the tennis elbow stretch. If you have any kind of tendonitis in your elbow, this would be a stretch that you would do. Relax the shoulders, breathe. And shake that out. Good, other hand palm up and then let the fingertips drop down. Pull back as you press forward, relax the shoulders, straight arm but not locked. And just breathe through this. Good, and release that. And again, one finger at a time, starting with the pinky, focusing on that first joint by the hand. Good, flip the hand over, pull back from the knuckles as you press forward from the wrist. Keep breathing. Good, and shake it out. We'll do the shoulder and the neck together. So let's take one arm across, hug from underneath, pull that arm, relax the shoulder. We already threaded the needle, but shoulders need stretches. And then let's take the ear to that same shoulder, breathe. Our shoulders are one of the tightest muscles we have in our upper body, our shoulders and our upper back. And release that. Other arm comes across, hug from underneath, relax the shoulders, and then you can take that ear toward that shoulder. Make sure that shoulder doesn't pop up as your ear goes toward it. And breathe. And release the shoulder. And let's just take the chin to the chest, relax the shoulders back and down. You can stay here if you want to deepen the stretch. You can take your hands towards your head. Pull the head into your chest and then draw your elbows in to get the upper back as well as the back of the neck. Breathe. And gently release that, roll it out. And we're going to finish with a meditation similar to what we did at the beginning, just a little bit more focused on really relaxing and letting go of any leftover tensions that you've got going on in your body. So hands back up in your lap, relax the shoulders. If you're on the ground and you want to lay down, go ahead and lay down if that's more comfortable. You can close your eyes if you'd like, and bring your attention to your breath again. Let it settle down. And once it's settled, go ahead into your belly breathing again. Nice deep breath in, pausing for a second. And a nice deep, even deeper breath out if you can. You can be breathing in and out through your nose or in through your nose and out through your mouth, whatever feels more comfortable. And again, I want you to, as you inhale, this time pull in really calming and relaxing energy. And as you exhale, really feel the release of the tension and the stress and anything negative going on. Just let it go. So that as you exhale, you feel your body relaxing deeper, melting into the chair if you're in the chair, melting into the floor if you're laying down. And as I read, just pick out a word or two or a phrase or two that jump out at you and you can focus on that. From Romans 15. May the God of hope fill you with all the joy and peace as you trust him, so that you may overflow with hope by the power of the Holy Spirit. So as you step outside these next few days and weeks, and you breathe in the cool air, and you feel the warmth of the sun hitting your face, choose joy. Choose to trust in his promises. Choose to know that he is always there. Choose to surrender. Choose a life lived out in worship for the one that is shining down on you. Bring your focus back to your breath. Start to wiggle your fingers and your toes, waking yourself from that deeper relaxation, but taking that sense of peace and calm with you. When you're ready, you can open up your eyes. And let's finish with a couple big breaths. Big inhale, exhale to heart center. One more big inhale, exhale to heart center. Namaste.